Neglected 00 Railway Layout, the 2025, Episode 3.
Hello again everybody, it's me up in the loft with my neglected railway layout, and I've now decided more or less what I'm going to do to get started, but I'm having a bit of a problem at the moment because there's my Gauge Master controller, the main box, and two on cable, and this one is I can unplug it and walk around with it, but I've forgotten how to use it, so I've been studying the instruction book, and I hate doing that, and I can't remember how to get the sound to work. In fact, I can't even remember which locos have got sound on. So it's a bit of a problem. The other one that I've got a problem with is this. It's a beautiful set, and it just will not program. So I don't know whether the chip was burnt out or whatever. I'll have to take it in. I'll take it into Lord and Butler and see if they can do anything with it. That's where I bought it from. Lord and Butler in Cardiff, by the way, a very, really good model shop, and they do a lot online. So if you haven't heard of them or looked them up, have a look. They're very, very good. Ask for Peter. I don't know whether he remember me because it's such a long time since I've been in there. Anyway, this is what I'm going to do to start with. I'm going to start on the back wall here, painting scenery. Now, what I did was I put lining paper on here, so when I finish with it, they could just rip it off and it will be back to a plain wall. But the first thing I've done is put this painting up here, which is my one and only attempt at oil painting, and it's a painting of place called Kalmar Slott, or if you like in English, Kalmar Castle, in Sweden. Lovely place. But what I'm going to do along here, I shall paint sky and then some hills in the background, and along the face here I'll put some industrial buildings for a while, and then it can turn into countryside. So that's my plan. I'll get started. Unfortunately, our local Wilkinson store closed down, so which is where I used to buy a cheap acrylic, but they've gone. So I went into Hobbycraft, and I bought these three things, acrylic, and I'll use those. So I'm going to squeeze some of that into there, and then add a little drop of water, because this is just a bit of background stuff, you know, for what will be the sky. And I'll paint some clouds on it as well later on, but let's see what we can do with that. It's a lot darker than I want it, so I'll have to put some white with that. I'll squeeze a bit of white in there. Yeah, that's it, got it. Oh, there's not much left in there. Get a bit of a mix. Well, that's it. The sky painted in, and if anybody's thinking, oh, the sky doesn't look like that, well, let me assure you, go outside and have a look. Nature can do some really peculiar things. While we're waiting for that to dry, let's go for a little train ride. Get the cleaning gear out again. Along here past the camping ground. And back into the station. I thought we were going to go through the town, but unfortunately I forgot to change the point. Right, well, that's now dry, so we'll see about getting some clouds on. That's fine. Right, well, I've got the basis of the clouds, but now I need to put some highlights on where the sun catches it a little bit, and just a little bit of white occasionally along there. The underside of the clouds will be a little bit darker, so I'm just going to use a grey and go in there with a little bit of grey, wipe it out. Well, that's my attempt at doing the clouds, and the next thing is to start painting the hills in with some in the far distance and then some closer, and then a little bit of an embankment along the bottom here, an embankment. But then of course you have the buildings. I want to put the industrial buildings along there with a fence, but I'm hoping that I'll learn how to do that with a quick cut rather than knock my fingers up as I've done in the past. Well, that's all as dry, so now I'm going to put some hills in there. I'm going to start with the ones that are furthest away, and to do that I'm going to mix a little bit of this colour and a little bit of this mauve, and we'll see what colour we can make for the hills in the distance. Right, well, down here there's going to be the industrial buildings, so I don't need to start the hills until somewhere around here. There we have the hills in the far distance. Now we'll start coming a bit closer with them. And for that I'm going to use a little drop of this colour and put some of that in there. And then to give it alternative with mucky bugger. Top of this that I bought from Hobbycraft, just a bit of that in there, and sort of mix it, not completely, just a little bit, and dab the brush into that. I was having a bit of a problem reaching into that corner there. I'm painting there, so what I've done is I've stuck the brush into the end of this hose vacuum pipe and taped it in there, and I'm going to try and paint like that. Now for the foreground, I want some trees, so I'm keeping the broom handle, and I find it a little bit more random if I do it this way. And just dab that on there. And I have to come back with another colour and just mix it in. Well, now I'm going to do the bank along here, cutting where they've cut through to get the rower line in, and for that I'm going to use this timber care. Might look like a bit of overkill for that bit there, but it's the only brown that I've got, and it's a dark brown. Oh, I haven't got that far. I'm going to now put a bit of texture into that by mixing a little bit of black with a little bit of grey randomly, and we'll see what we can do with that up there. Now I want to get a bit of foliage, a bit of vegetation along the back there. So if I can get the top off this old PVA glue, put some dots on there. And then in between there, maybe a bit of a different colour. And what I'm adding now is actually static grass, but I think it will look okay there like that. There we have it for the moment, and if you stand far enough back it doesn't look too bad. Anyway, but along here where the industrial buildings are going to go, what I'm going to do is dummy some up. I got some A4 sheets that went through the printer unnecessarily in this paperless world, and the printer keeps churning out paper. I'm going to use those, cut them up to the sort of shapes that I want, and offer them up and see how they work. And then for the actual buildings themselves, I'm hoping that by that time I will have got a Cricut Maker 3 to cut out the detail properly, and we'll see how we get on with that. When I stood back to look at what I'd done, I realised that I created a potential problem, because that bank is quite high and we may get heavy rain and wash the stuff down. So I'm going to build a retaining wall all the way along there. And what I've done, I've scanned some engineering brickwork onto my laptop, and I'm going to print some more sheets off. And I use a laser printer because I don't do that much printing, and although the cartridges are far more expensive than the inkjet, the ink doesn't dry out, and so it lasts a lot longer, and at the end it's cheaper. Now these sheets that I've scanned, I've got a little line of header bricks here with cappings, so I've cut myself some strips which will be the retaining wall, and then I'll bend these over so that they become the capping, or part of them, so there's headings and then the headers and then the capping. But I needed a bit of depth for the wall, so I needed some fairly thick cardboard, and luckily I went down to the recycling bin, pulled out these bits of boxes. We buy a lot of fat balls because we've got a lot of birds coming to the garden.
Occasionally a buzzard, a big family of wagtails, and a family of woodpeckers. And between them, they eat a lot of fat balls. I bought 450 the other day.
Anyway, that's going to be cut into strips, and then I shall glue that and to make one long wall. But first I'm going to join all those together with a bit of sellotape. Right, now this is corrugated this side, so I'm going to turn it over so that this side is smoother and it won't show through so much. And then now we get on with a bit of gluing. Right, we'll let that dry off and get it into place. While that's happening, we'll go for a ride in a rail car. GWR. And there we have our retaining wall. Well folks, that's it for episode 3. And I'll crack on getting some other stuff done, which you may or may not like to come back and see. I hope so. So if you haven't already, please subscribe. If you'd like to come back, and don't forget to ring the little bell on the subscribe, and then you pick all, and that will make sure you see when I put a new video up. So for this time, thanks for watching, and BFN. Bye for now.